I will do that real quick.
Yeah.
As I introduce myself. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start this presentation here. I'm sure there's going to be other people walking in. I appreciate you all being here today. My name is Ken Rosinski. I'm the Commander of Investigations of the Orland Park Police Department. I'm also the project manager for the Fusus system here with the PD. About a year and a half ago, Chief Eric Rossi attended a conference down in Indianapolis for Simon Properties, and he was introduced to the Fusus system. He became so enamored with the system and saw so many potential uses for it here in the village, he brought it back here, was able to secure the funds after presenting it to our village board, and we purchased this system. Now, originally, we got this system because we have many schools, we have a large high school, we also have the largest mall in the southwest suburbs, and that was our main focus. But what we really want to do as well is get businesses like yourselves incorporated into the Fusus system. So to kind of know who my audience is here and what kind of businesses there are, if you don't mind me, if you guys can make presentations of what business you're from so we kind of all know what's represented here. Ma'am?
Hi, I'm Lindsay Evans with Liberty Point Realty.
I'm Mia Allen, I'm with AAA.
AAA. Ma'am? Yes.
Hi, I'm Wendy Friedheim for Mass Friedheim Jewelry.
Thanks.
Ramsey Hassan at Bridge Realty Company in the Orland Park area.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
You know me.
I do.
I'm
For everyone else?
My name is Sarah. I'm the CEO of the Orland Park Area Chamber of Commerce.
And my name is Arena, and I'm with Sportage Chicago Taylor Park.
Okay.
Jad Juby, real estate broker with West Realtors, Orland Park, 37 years.
Thank you.
Megan Conley, Tri-State Disposal.
Thanks.
Jeff Burnett, Orland Square Mall. Dan Giudicio, Security Director for Orland Square Mall.
Anthony Andros, Orland Park Public Library.
Josh Degner, IT Manager at Orland Park Public Library.
And Mary Adamowski, the Library Director at the Orland Park Library.
Thank you all for being here once again. This is Jack Howard. He's a representative from Fusus. I'm going to turn it over to him so he can do an introduction of exactly what Fusus is and get you to understand. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Commander, and thank you for everyone for hosting us here at the Orland Park Police Department. Just a quick introduction. Myself and my partner are here on behalf of Fusus. Again, my name's Jack Howard. I'm a public safety advisor with Fusus. I have overall about a 34-year background in law enforcement. I've been with Fusus for about 2 years. I work locally here in the Chicago area. Carlo, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself.
So thank you everybody for coming. My name is Carlo Capano. I'm a Director of Sales for Fusus. My background is 27 years law enforcement. I retired as the Chief of Police out of Manchester, New Hampshire. That's where the odd accent comes from, so I don't have the Jack Chicago accent here, but we're looking forward to showing you guys what Fusus can do for the community, keep it safe, that's what it's all about. And Jack's going to run you through some PowerPoints, and then we can hopefully answer a bunch of questions that you may have. So thank you.
Great. So just to give you an expectation, we are not going to kill you with the PowerPoint presentation. Just going to throw up a couple slides, but I do want to show you a couple pictures, give you a little peek behind the curtain of what the Orland Park police officers are facing as they respond to your 911 calls for service every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But with this public safety initiative, we're going to show a couple of videos, but we really want to allow enough time to answer any questions that you may have, because it is a relatively new system, a public safety initiative. But what you might not realize is this all really got up and running and started right a little bit down the street in Oak Lawn. Back in 2018, the chief at the time was responding to a horrible mass school shooting down in Florida. So you remember the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting. And the challenge that the chief in Oak Lawn, and as we will talk everywhere from coast to coast, is how do you give the police officers the tools to effectively and strategically and precision, we call it precision policing, respond to those calls for service. And specifically, get to the cameras when they really need to get the cameras to address a critical incident like that. So at the time, several of the school districts, still to this day in Oak Lawn, had different camera systems. What Fusus did, and Fusus is kind of based on a Greek term, which means the fusing of systems together. That's what happened in Oak Lawn. So they've been up and running since 2018. So as we sit here today, every single patrol officer in Oak Lawn in their squad car has access with this permission-based system, which is based on policy and procedure, which you're going to hear that a lot during this presentation. Permission-based, level-based permissions, policy-based systems to the school cameras in Oak Lawn, but also the Metro train station, the Children's Museum, Christ Hospital, several businesses in the area, so that the officers, if they are responding to that call from service to that location, with permission, can get access to the cameras to validate that call, to make sure that they're effectively responding to that crime in progress. So in general, before we hit the slides, what's a real-time crime center? You think of a giant room, a big room, similar if you ever seen the Minority Report, somebody standing behind a screen and flicking screens left and right. We are trying to break down that notion of what's out in the movies. The reality is this is for the patrol officers patrolling Orland Park all day, every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We want to get it in the patrol officers' hands as they're responding to these calls for service. And we're going to talk about a lot of very, very recent examples at the end of the presentation, but if it's okay for the first slide, I don't know if you could just give you a sample. Right now, our platform, our security solution is the largest in the nation today. We have over just about 250, 255 agencies coast to coast. We always like starting with this slide because we talk about the large agencies, the small agencies, and the middle agencies. So you'll see Orlando, Cleveland, Minneapolis, Nashville, Memphis, several others, but then you'll also see University of Notre Dame Police Department, one of our first customers. Well, then that is now spread to South Bend, to Hammond, Indiana, up in Kalamazoo, Gary, Indiana. Milwaukee is now on board. But more importantly, I want to highlight the next slide, and this is our initiatives here locally. Again, one of the slides you'll see right behind me is Oak Lawn, again, one of our first partners in 2018, and now it is spread next door to Alsip in Burbank and Bedford Park, but also here in Orland Park, and it's going to be spreading this public safety initiative because we know crime does not have borders. The bad actors, the bad guys out there on the street do not see borders, and the challenges to law enforcement is properly addressing it. So in addition to that, you'll see the state capitol in Springfield's up and running. We just stood up an initiative that's just got off the ground with Aurora, locally in the south suburbs, Chicago Heights, Riverdale. But again, I just like focusing on this Orland Park, Oak Lawn, Burbank, Bedford Park, Alsip, because we're really trying to grow out this ecosystem locally. So if it's okay, next slide. This is our approach. This is our Fusus solution is not something we just sold Orland Park, a tool to say, good luck, let us know how it goes. We want to be with you every step of the way, and that's part of my job. That's why they brought me onto the team. That's why I'm here locally in the southwest suburbs. And this is part of my job, is coming out to explain what our holistic approach is, how to bridge that gap between the businesses, the public, and law enforcement. And where traditional policing involves police officers racing to the scene, now we want to make the Orland Park Police a more effective and efficient police department. And to steal a quote from a police chief down south, we want to enact precision policing. We want to have the police officers react to the calls smartly, and usually they're at the mercy of that 911 caller. It could be a well-intentioned citizen that could be giving the wrong information. There's a hit and run and it's a red car. Well, it's actually a pink car. My bike just got stolen. He just headed northbound on LaGrange. Well, it's actually southbound. This is a way to speed up the investigation so the officer that's responding to the call, he or she can access the cameras, validate the call for service, and then address it appropriately and respond in a more efficient manner. We also like to talk about the proportional response. The Orland Park police officers, the good officers that are out there on the street today, if they get a 911 call for service and it's a priority call, like, hey, I just saw somebody with a gun walk into this bank, what are the good officers going to do? They are going to drive as fast as they can, as safely as they can to that bank to address that threat. Well, what does that do? What if that call is not valid? What if it's we're hearing about these swatting calls, fake calls coming into 911, but proportionally, what if somebody calls in hey, somebody just stole a candy bar at the 7-Eleven, but it's truly an armed robbery? Well, with the officers, if you give them the permission to access with this permission-based system, then the officers can validate the call, or their supervisor, or the backup officer, or the 911 dispatch supervisor. And that's why this partnership with the Orland Park is so important. We're going to talk about the technology on our next slide. One more, I promise. So the Fusus Connect, this is an integral part, and we'll give you a peek what the website looks like. And feel free, offline, type in connectorlandpark.org. That is a website we maintain and we push out to the residents and the business owners. There's two different levels of participation. There's no cost to just register your camera. We see a lot of challenges with residents and business owners that they might have disparate camera systems such as Ring, Arlo, Nest, stuff that's off the shelf from Menards, Costco, Sam's Club, Walmart, that can't be pulled in, can't be accessed. It's proprietary system. We want to put those registered cameras with permission with the community onto one map, so then the patrol officers, the detectives can efficiently go out there and not have to knock on 10 doors. Instead, they can maybe just send one email and say, hey, listen, we just had 5 catalytic converters cut in the area of 151st and Oak Park. When you get a chance, check your Ring, check your Arlo, check your Nest. If you have anything, send out this email. We also, through the Connect program, we talk about the community-oriented tools that allow the sharing of, conditional sharing of the camera footage as the officers are responding to that call for service. And we'll talk about that a little more, but basically, I don't know if you guys set out the tip line yet, but part of the other solution, there's a lot of things this Fusus platform can do, but we're going to be setting up a tip line. This is all built into the system, so then citizens, residents, business owners can text the tip into the platform along with the picture, along with the video. And again, now the officers aren't logging into 5 different systems to try to get that citizen tip. Hey, I just saw this strange car driving around the school. It may be something, maybe nothing. Here's the picture. Well, if it's going into the same platform, and then the officer is on the street like, wait a second, I just got another call, completely unrelated, they can correlate those two pieces of information and effectively respond. So now the next thing. So what is the goal here in Orland Park specifically? So again, we keep hearing me saying permission-based system, policy and procedure. This is a voluntary permission-based system that we're asking the businesses, schools, anyone out there, listen, if you're comfortable, if you're having some issues, some possible crime problems, and the police officers have responded to your businesses, typically the old way of doing it is they get a call, they respond, they get the facts, and it could be, hey, this person did this, or this person did that, and typically the next question is, do you have cameras? And okay, the third question is, can we get a copy of the video, because if we do catch them, and we do got to submit a referral to the state's attorney's office for possible charges, the investigations team are getting put through the ringer with the state's attorney's office to put together a effective package that is going to stand up in court. And part of that missing piece is the camera and the video footage. So if you do have that footage, this is a way of speeding things up. The other thing is that Orland Park Police Department has invested a lot of money in different technologies, whether it's license plate reader systems, other tools that they have in place now. But then in the future, Orland Park, as the police departments modernize and get smarter and get more efficient and effective, they may purchase technology in the future. The thing with our company and our solution is we're always going to grow with Orland Park. And the most third thing, I believe it's the third point behind me, is our integration with the 911 system. So you're fortunate enough that you live in a community where not only you have the police department, but you have your own 911 system, and they work literally under the same roof. Since our solution is integrated with the 911 system, we have a patented system that allows for the businesses such as you, even the school districts, whoever, to conditionally share the cameras, and we'll cover this a little more on the end, with level-based permissions, that you set the parameters, you set the permission levels. And how do we do this? Well, we tie it to the 911 center. So, for example, you're a business owner and you have 4 cameras in a shop. We have and we'll show you what the connection, network devices, cores, we would call them cores, but they're literally network appliances that serve as the bridge between your camera system and the police department. We have one that's about the size of a Roku box that pulls in up to 4 cameras. That is like a $200 one-time charge. Well, you can get so granular where you can customize saying, listen, I have 4 cameras. I have 2 facing the parking lot, but 2 inside. I'm not comfortable sharing my interior cameras yet, but I'm fine with sharing the exterior cameras where there's no expectation of privacy. It's facing a parking lot. You know, I've had some burglaries to our cars. I'm concerned with my employees' safety, but I do want to conditionally grant you access to my cameras inside. So in the event I call 911, your officers can see what is going on to validate that call, to more appropriately respond to that call. So that's why the integration with 911 is so essential here in Orland Park. And again, our goal is to simplify this for the officers as they're responding to the calls and put everything on one screen, one login, and one password. So next screen. So the good officers on the streets, typically you'll see 5, 6, 7 tabs open on their computers. And I'm sure you in the business world are the same thing. You got your accounting software running. You got your CRM thing. You got your timekeeping. The police are no different. They have multiple tabs open. They have their 911 system open. They may have their records management software system open. They may have the LPR platform open. They may have Google Maps like this behind me. So this is typically, Google Maps is widely used by a police department just to get situational awareness. Where am I at? I may be in a new subdivision. I don't know where I'm at. Let me get a bird's eye view of where we're responding. So this is what the officers look at now, and what you're looking at is a picture of Georgia Tech University, one of our partners down in Atlanta. Next slide, this is what we do with our real-time crime center with Fusus. We have the ability to import your floor plans, and your floor plans could be as detailed as a architecture, deep dive sketch where it's a PDF file, or in the case, and we have partners, we have a rec center just south of Atlanta. They couldn't find their floor plans. So we asked them, well, do you have a fire exit plan? Is it right outside the door? Oh yeah, sure. How about this? Just snap a picture and send it to us, because we want to overlay that and give this to the police officers, because as you can see, this is the Student Commons Center. It is extremely granular. Where are the tables? Where are the toilets? Where is the desk? Where's the offices? But more importantly, the green icons you see up there, those are the camera assets. And the good thing also is that we monitor the health of the cameras out there, whether they're village-owned, whether it's at the rec center, fire, police, and then any of our partner businesses or school districts. So I'm sure you've had an occasion that one of your cameras have gone down for whatever reason. It just broke, end of life, maybe a firewall issue, maybe a connectivity. You had to troubleshoot it, maybe call your internet service provider. So those cameras in the red, we monitor that there's something wrong. There's some connectivity. We've had issues in Oak Lawn where a janitor at one of the local Catholic schools, he unplugged the box. As simple as that. We had another partner at a liquor store in Oak Brook. They changed their internet service provider. One business had a different point of sale system that interrupted the connection. Either way, our technology, and not to get too into the tech world, but everything is being done on the edge, meaning everything is being done locally on that network device, meaning we're not dragging down your bandwidth, we're not dragging down the police bandwidth, and everything is encrypted at the highest levels. The police department have to follow what's called the Criminal Justice Information System Protocols, so short for CJIS. Every police department has to live, eat, and breathe with the CJIS rules, and especially with technology, they want to make sure all the data is encrypted, make sure it's encrypted while it's sitting at rest, make sure while it's sitting in transit or in transit, and while it's being transmitted to the police via the secure link. That's what we do. That's the solution we bring. So with that, I think I got one more slide after this, and then I'm going to dive into a couple videos. And again, when I say couple, it's going to be a minute or two. Just to wrap things up, I want to just hammer in on this one final time. This is a conditional base platform that you set the rules. You tell the police department what you're comfortable sharing and what you're not comfortable with sharing. You have the police department, Orland Park Police Department, is developing policy and procedure. This is just another law enforcement tool that is going to be subject to policy and procedure. I know Commander Rosinski's working with his colleagues next door. They're sharing best practices. That's the good thing about here in the south suburbs. We have so many initiatives going on that one department is sharing best practices, what worked, what didn't. Okay, let's tweak this, let's tweak that. So you're going to see a policy-based system. And then finally, I already talked about our CJIS compliant encryption standards. So before I put up the last slide, 3 recent examples that I'm sure you're going to be all familiar with. One of our partners, Oak Brook Police Department, they're in DuPage County. They have, of course, coming up on the 3-year anniversary of a horrendous mass shooting that they had on the eve of Christmas Eve. That enacted a lot of changes out in Oak Brook, and one of the changes is that all the mall cameras are now coming online with the Oak Brook Police Department, conditional sharing. Same thing, they've put up intersection cameras. They've partnered with DuPage County Department of Transportation. They've installed license plate readers. You cannot get in and out of the mall, and they're addressing it appropriately. Why is this important? Well, a week and a half ago, the mom and young infant was up at the Woodfield Mall. They get carjacked. The carjacker kicks him out of the car, takes off. Where does he go? He goes right into Oak Brook. And guess what happened? They picked him up on a joint LPR and camera right off 18th and Spring Road. And we hopefully, the rest of the story was a good ending. The Oak Brook Police partnered with their partners next door in Hinsdale and a number of other agencies, and they ultimately stopped the offender on 294 right off 83, and he is now being held accountable for his actions in DuPage County. The state's attorney out there, Bob Berlin, is doing a phenomenal job holding the bad actors accountable for their actions. The second example in Alsip, which you may not know about this, and I was fortunate enough, Chief Miller just shared this with me, and I dug up a Patch article about this, but the horrific murder of the young mom in Worth at the ATM at the Chase Bank 2 Saturdays ago. Going in to pull out money, and the horrendous murder right in the middle of the day. Well, what I didn't know, and what Chief Miller shared with me, was 15 minutes before, that same crew was at the Swaparama just off 127th and Cicero. Well, guess what one of the first businesses that partnered with the village of Alsip was? It was the Swaparama. And guess what? The officers responding to an attempted armed robbery, luckily the victim was able to run away from the scene. They were just taking the initial report. They were doing what traditional policing does. Let's try to identify the manager. Let's try to get the video. Let's see if we can get a description of the offenders. Well, in the meantime, they railed back to the station, and the chief and his command staff's like, hey, we just got these cameras up and running. We have access to them with the permission of the Swaparama management team. And sure enough, they got the picture. They got the entire video. Unfortunately, 15 minutes later, they got over to Worth, but those offenders are also in custody with the good work with the Posen Police Department, the Illinois State Police, South Suburban Major Crimes Task Force. But all those pieces of evidence were tied together because of one of the first, what we call partners donor sites in the LSIP, and that, again, that is another one. The last one, I mean, I can just speak briefly to it with Orland Park. Commander Rosinski shared this with me a couple weeks ago. Typical responding to a man with a gun call in the vicinity of the Orland Park Mall. Our partners from the Orland Park Mall cameras are just getting ready to come on, but they're not on yet. Well, the detectives, one of the first partners is a local church in the area. They said, you know what, let's, with the permission of the church, they've already given, they want, you know, the police department accessing the cameras if they have an incident. Well, sure enough, they had an incident, and what happened? They captured that offender running from the scene of the mall with the gun. The gun was ditched in a dumpster. They would never have located that, and hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn, without that video footage. They had that immediately. They weren't looking the traditional canvas. They weren't knocking on the church door looking for the pastor, the key holder, the IT point of contact. So that's what we're doing. Last slide, and then I want to jump in. The Orland Park team shared this with me. This is, I think, just getting pushed out to social media on the village websites, both here and in Tinley Park. So December 12th, the chief, the mayor, I think a couple county commissioners for both villages are having a public safety Southwest Suburban meeting. Here's the information. It is on the village website. I'm sure it's going to be pushed out with the chamber. You're all invited. Again, this was 100% with the chief and the village team. But again, just another way to push the message that your local police departments are collaborating with each other, sharing information to speed up these investigations. So that is Tuesday, December 12th at 7 p.m. It is at the Civic Center, just down the street on Ravinia. But again, that is posted, I believe it's on the Orland Park website. I know it's posted on the Tinley Park website. I think there's a patch article promoting it, and more to come on, you know, Fusus and other things. So with that, I want to share two videos, and I promise these are literally 2 minutes long. And the first one, if you could pull up Cobb County and just maximize it, and I'll walk you through this in a second. So it's the first example. I just it's a great visual that our good friends down in Cobb County, Georgia, just north of the Atlanta area and Marietta, put together. Again, one of the first donor sites, one of the first partners, apartment complex that was having a huge spike in crime, and they partnered with the police department. They're like, listen, we want to give you access to our cameras, as you recall, because we keep calling 911 and we want to speed up the process. Well, sure enough, traditional policing, if somebody was fortunate enough to call 911, what would they have described? I mean, you would have been lucky if I got red shoes out of it, right? And we always talk about the red shoes. I know the Michigan State shooting was in the news a while back. They were looking for the shooter, red shoes, red shoes, red shoes. We were just up in Michigan State a couple months ago, hours upon hours upon hours trying to get the video of the shooter in the red shoes. They got him, but it took a long time. Here in Cobb County, they immediately responded to that call. They had the information in their hands, and they addressed it appropriately. So now, second video, I taught, you know.
That video is not.
Oh, the Exxon one? No? Okay, it's on the desktop, okay. I could, it might be on, or is that on your email? Let's see. Do you go, here, go to the downloads. Just type it down. Sorry about that. We had a couple of videos. This one I really want to show you. Go to downloads right there. No, it's not in yours. Okay, all right. I'll see if I can get it fired up. I might have it on my zip drive. But one of the, we always talk about the bad, but one of the videos we're going to show you in, when we take questions, I might fire it up. The Atlanta Police Department received a call about an 80-year-old Alzheimer's patient that literally went missing. And they were trying to track her movements, and they couldn't find her. And this is 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. They ultimately found her. So this real-time crime center solution is not just for the bad. This is going to empower the police officers to address all types of crimes. Because typically what the Orland Park Police is focusing on is the serious crimes, and they don't maybe have the staffing resources to address all types of crimes, such as property crimes, such as thefts. Well, now, if they do have access with this permission-based platform to the videos, then maybe they could speed up that process. So I'll get that keyed up in a second. But in the meantime, Kabir, did you want to, I could work on that. Do you want to talk through the Connect website?
Yes. So Connect Orland Park is, connectorlandpark.org is a website that's got two functions. It's got one function that asks you if you would like to integrate your cameras. That means that you would get one of these core systems. It would be through a purchase, or we have several here that we will pass out to different businesses that are interested once they're vetted through, and then a small yearly subscription that would give us access to your videos. The second part of Connect Orland Park is where you'd register your cameras. Registering your cameras is a two-step process. You click on register your cameras. It's about 90 seconds where you put your name, your phone number, your email address, and then check a box that gives us permission, and boom, you're registered that you have a camera with Orland Park, and we have a way to contact you, and a location of that camera shows up on our map system. I'm going to show you what our map system looks like, so you kind of know what our Fusus system looks like to our patrol, and to our investigators, and to our dispatchers. So this is the website right here where it's register your cameras and integrate your cameras. This is the map of what we see through on a daily basis. This is what we are looking at. Now, there's a lot of cameras that are on here. Those are all going to be our village cameras, and it shows where our officers are. But these little blue dots show all the different locations where we have registered cameras. So if we click on one, and I'm not going to click on one because it would show the person's information, but we'd instantly know that this person has a camera and that we could contact them via email or by a cell phone. Now, to give you an example of what a location looks like, I will show you a location right here in the village that we have several cameras, and what the mapping looks like, just as Jack did. This is our Orland Park Sportsplex. So it shows the map of the Sportsplex, and it has all the different locations on there. And if we wanted, if we knew something was happening at the Sportsplex, there was a fight in the parking lot, and somebody called 911, we can click on the camera, and we would have access to the outside camera to see what was happening currently in that parking lot. But with the Fusus system and these cores, there's also a memory component that saves part of the video. So if we go on here and they say a fight just happened or something happened in a location, we would click on this, and if nothing was happening, we could then go back in the video and see different time frames, different, go back and see, okay, it's this car that left, or it's this person fled into the field, or he ran this way, and then we can click on another camera and see if we catch on that camera. And that's how we would utilize it here at the police department.
So typically, what Commander Rzinski brought up, and again, when we said simplify, we're trying to keep it, keep it simple, stupid. My old sophomore high school teacher used to say that, English. Keep it simple, stupid. We try to really make it easy for the officer in a critical incident as the response act officers get access to the cameras with permission quickly. And you know, since it's a map-based interface, now they know where they're going, they know where to look. And then if they can't get to the cameras, then their partner, somebody is sitting in the station, whoever the backup officer that's on the other side of town, or, you know, can access the cameras. So I want to be mindful of your time. I know I've been talking a lot, and I want to make sure we carved out enough time for any questions. So with that, I think covered. Is there any questions specific? Yes.
So, and I'm going to clarify, this is not for me, but I tried to get some of my neighbor businesses to sign up.
Sure.
Because it will help me. And I said, I don't think they're going to be sitting there looking at you, right? But what is the law regarding if, like, all you're going to see with me is I overeat, okay? You're going to see me eat. I'll go in the back room, I'll eat something, I
Right.
eat again, but then I go and make turkey. But, and no, it was an issue. I could tell
Sure.
because I couldn't get them to come.
And we get the question all the
So
time.
I want to give them the proper answer. And I said, I know in the law, they're like, you have to have a reason. You can't just look in my purse right now and then arrest me because I have something bad in there. You have to have had a reason to look at my purse, right?
So how we would use it in Orland Park is number one is a permission-based system.
Yeah.
So if you didn't want us to see the cameras that were inside your business but allowed us to see the cameras on the outside of your business,
Yeah.
but if we saw the inside of your business, we would only be going on there if there was a call there, if there was a 911 call, if there was a call of an alarm. We would click on those cameras. No one has the time of the day to be monitoring all of these cameras or the will to watch. I mean, I'm sure you eat turkey very nicely and everything, but
We're stores, so I can't control, like, people that come in my store. What if, for example, a customer came in my store and they did something illegal? Maybe they had a firearm that was illegal. I'm trying to think of an example, right, of what could be.
sure.
And then, what if you saw it?
Well, we wouldn't be watching. If a customer just walked into your store, we would not be watching. You would have to tell us, I see a gun on a customer, can you please respond? And we would then pull up those cameras. We would not be there monitoring at all. We're not a monitoring service. This is strictly for police department use.
Good. Question number 2. So the other day, I had a client call, I didn't know him, and I had a bad feeling. So I called my girlfriend Karma, who lives not far, and I said, Karma, could you come in my parking lot and just sit there? Could I have called the police and said, could you turn on my cameras? Because he says he's coming here.
Depending on the situation, sure. If you were walking outside and you said there's a person sitting in a car outside, can you send an officer? Well, we would send an officer, of course, but while the officer's en route, we would be clicking on your camera to see what exactly is going on, you know, depending on what we can see with your camera. One thing that wasn't mentioned is Fusus has an audit system. So you could pull up, you can ask at any time, hey, how many times has the Orland Park Police Department come onto my camera? And we would pull it up and say, if at any time anyone clicked on, it would be, this is the date, this is the time, this is the officer that logged on, And then you can ask any, this is how long they were on for, and you can ask those questions, and you can ask for an audit at any time.
And the good thing about this, since this is linked to the 911 system, anytime a 911 call for service comes in, that's tracked, audited, stamped with an incident number, so all that stuff can be cross-referenced. Well, yep, the officers were dispatched to your business at such and such. But again, going back to those policy procedures, compliance, rules and regulations, the audit trail is mandatory, is essential. Any law enforcement executive, commander, rank, they always have to be accountable for their officers' actions. And when this platform was designed, that audit trail was the #1 priority.
Okay. And then my third question, if it would be okay, is
Sure.
how much is it to each year?
Oh, how much? So the good news is the Orland Park Police Department has invested a significant amount of resources in this. So the lion's share of the cost has already been absorbed by the village. What they're asking for, I know the police department has a limited amount of the network devices that they're willing to, provide the businesses free of charge. The good news is these the network devices, there's no annual recurring costs or hidden fees, license fees, or seat fees. If it breaks, we always replace it. The one ask from the villages is that just to help share in the cost of connecting the cameras. So just a rough estimate, if you had 4 cameras at a business, on average, the annual recurring cost would be $150. The next one up is about 25, 50 cameras. That is like an annual recurring cost of $900 for connecting those amount of cameras. But the takeaway is that, again, the power is in your hands that you customize what cameras you want to share. If you have 25 cameras, that doesn't mean you have to share every single camera. You literally customize it, maybe just the front entrance, back entrance, so we try to make it cost effective.
So we went from 4 cameras to 25.
Right.
I think I'm at 16. How much is that?
16, if you're under 25, you're over 4, so it would be in that $900 annual recurring cost. Again, with the limited amount of boxes we have, the police department would probably provide the hardware to you free of charge.
Okay, and then we're sure that your hardware could go on my camera?
So yeah, thank you. Great question. We don't make cameras. We don't make anything other than the bridge and the software that brings that in. We would always make sure we are compatible with your cameras. We always say we're compatible with about 90% of the cameras out there. If it's a pretty up-to-date open loop system, when I say open loop, not a closed loop system like Ring, Arlo, Nest, we have the ability to bring in those cameras, but for proprietary reasons, those companies have chosen at this time, we're not going to allow access. But if you have like an Access camera, a Hanwha camera, a Bosch camera, companies like Avigilon, Milestone, Genetec, Salient, ExactVision, those are all companies we are currently working with, and I just railed off a few. We would validate that well in advance with our IT team, like our technical experts would connect with your IT team and validate that. And they'll tell you, like, yes, 100%, we can coordinate with that. Or they'll say, you know what, it's an older system, we can't, or we can do it, but here's the solution. So we would definitely cover that on the front end before anything happens.
Do you know if you work with Lorex?
Lorex? You're off.
We'll check.
Yeah, we could check it.
Certain yes on that, but we'll double check.
Anyway, and that's something, if you, the easiest, a good starting point, Commander Rosinski's working with our customer success team that does all that back-end work. And if you say, hey, I have 15 Lorex cameras, model number 123, can you let me know if that's something you can connect with? And sometimes, even times if you snap a picture of like the back, like the price tag, not the price tag, but the UPC code on the back end, we'll let you know. And if it doesn't, the police department might say, we can't do this at this time. Might be looking into, maybe upgrading the cameras. But again, we're pretty much connecting with over 90% of the cameras out there. Great questions, though. Thank you.
The cores are almost plug and play. There's not too much to get them started with your camera system if it does work with Fusus, which, like Jack said, over 90% of them do. And that's something that the businesses would work directly with Fusus to hook up. It's usually just a phone call. This is how you do it, and there's little instructions that are in there. And if there's any technical things that need to be done, Fusus has a customer service center that would help. That's, yeah,
Yep.
it would be directly with
Yes, sir.
Fusus.
Does the Fusus box hook up to the computer internet or hook up to the video system?
Whatever your video management software system is, generally the way we do it. But there's a number of different ways. I don't want to get too much into the IT world, but there's a couple different ways our IT engineers can do it. Sometimes they can go direct to the camera, if your camera system has the ability to pull a second stream. Other times we go right to the video management software. So if you have like a local NVR device box, it would just, that our network appliance would just sit right next to it.
We'd have to put any software on a computer?
No. This is, it's a Linux-based appliance that our engineers assemble and build and strip down and encrypt down at our company headquarters just outside Atlanta, Georgia. So everything's done here in the United States. And that Linux network appliance would sit side by side. So we're always cautious saying plug and play, but it's an Ethernet cord, it's a power cord. Go through the firewall issues with our team down in Atlanta, Georgia, and you should be good to go. Anyone else? All right. Well, again, my offer to you, again, I'm pretty much on weekly calls, emails, meetings with the Orland Park team. I'm local. Anytime you have any follow-up, please do not hesitate to reach out to the Orland Park team, or if you need any follow-up at one of your businesses. You might go home tonight and say, oh boy, I forgot to ask this question. Fire them away. We want to get this public safety initiative moving, and you already thought another question. Yes?
How do we sign up?
Oh, sign up, great, yeah. So two of the things, one, so on the registry, camera registry program, which there's no charge, Commander Rosinski's put some flyers together. We're asking, hey, businesses, would you mind putting those up? And it's just a free service for the citizens to register. But if you're looking to partner with the police department, with their team, contact Commander Rosinski.
Right. And if you know any other business partners, they contact me, or our Connect Orland Park does have it where you can go onto the Connect Orland Park site, and it will guide you through how to, number one, register your cameras or integrate your cameras.
Yeah, and again, I'll pull up the website. It's a pretty good website where it explains it, what the setup is, and it's just, if you're looking just to register your cameras free of charge, you go right here, get started, and it talks about that, and then the integration of the cameras, and you were asking about the price, and the one thing I had mentioned about the small network device, it's firing up right now, but that's our core light, and that is the one that I mentioned, $200 one-time cost, but the police department has a limited amount of free hardware to give away, and then $150 recurring cost to connect those 4 cameras. So.
And after 150, then it goes to 450?
No, it's actually $350. That is just for the boxes, the one-time cost. But again, the police department has a limited amount that they're going to give away. It would just be the cost of connecting. So, all right.
One thing I want to leave you with, we'll be here for a while to ask any questions, but to go along with our recent success story, one of our jobs here at the police department is to not only keep people safe, but make them feel safe. Now, with this person that was fleeing with what ended up being a stolen gun, as they were fleeing from police officers on foot, there was investigators that were looking at cameras that we'd only have access through the Fusus system, and we watched him go to a church. We don't know if there's on church property. We don't know if there's churches in session. We don't know if there's parishioners inside. We don't know if there's clergy inside. but we were able to determine and track his movement live on cameras to watch him go around and skirt around the property and disappear into some wooded area. And we were able to guide our officers right in there. But what we didn't have to do is go into the church and make a disruption and think that as our guys are on foot, chasing somebody on foot, a man with a gun, that he might have ran into that church. We knew immediately that he did not. On the flip side, if he did run into the church, we would have immediate knowledge that he ran into the church, he ran into this door, and we would have officers, instead of surrounding or going in different areas, we could do our precision policing and go right to our most effective point. Yes?
One last thing here. So we often call, when we do call, it's the non-emergency number. So clearly, if anything with the gun or anything violent, I would suspect that you all would access the live camera footage en route. But for maybe a lower level disturbance of some kind, once the officer arrives, do we have the expectation that maybe they've looked at the camera by then? Like, where's the latitude of checking it?
So it will be on a call-by-call basis. Even if you call non-emergency, a call will be created, which means that the cameras will pop up. Now, I can't guarantee that anyone is going to be watching the cameras as they're arriving. It depends on what's going on in the street, depending on the officers. If the officer is pulling up himself, I mean, he's driving, he's talking on the radio, he's probably not going to be the person that's looking at a camera feed. It is going to be the backup officer, it's going to be somebody in investigations, it's going to be somebody that's at a stable point where they can safely view what's going on. Now, if it's an emergency call, 911, and it's more of where somebody could get hurt, there'll be a lot of people trying to get on at one time. But if it's a small disturbance where somebody, is just refusing to leave, you might not have access to the cameras or might not look at the cameras before they get there. Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And again, we're happy to stick around, answer any questions offline, but appreciate you taking your time this Thursday evening, meet with us. So thank you.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe. Thank you.